Hey there, it's Will here, and hey, just a super quick note. This video is actually part 2 of the AI B2B lead gen series. I mean, it's 2 videos. I don't know if you call it a series of videos, but this is actually part 2. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll put the link like in the box below or in the description, whatever it is, if it's on the screen. If you haven't watched that part yet, please do go check it out, because that's where I kind of set up exactly how we approach B2B lead gen and how we even use and think about AI to help bring leads in for our clients. So watch that first if you haven't, but if you have watched that already and you're on to part 2, enjoy, and I will see you on the other side.
So with all that being said and done, right, we've got the offer, we've got the strategy and the offer, we've got the audience and the research done. Let's move on to step 2, which is all about building lists and writing the actual emails. Now, in this part, I'm going to take you through kind of breaking down the 2 sections, right? One is list building, which I know you're going to ask me questions about. Hey, how do you buy a list? What software do you use? I'll kind of cover all of that. And then the second bit, which is how do you write really good emails to get these open rates or to get these reply rates? And so I'm going to give you a framework that you can use to write great emails as quickly as possible. Now, for the non-techies out here, I'm going to geek out just a tad, like just a little bit. So just bear with me for a second, but I'm not going to go so full on deep into the tech and how we do it. I will say that I hire other people to do this for me, but I'll give you the basics and the principles and the frameworks for thinking about this. So if you want to go and build your own list, you can do so as well. So I'm going to say kind of tip of the iceberg kind of stuff and explain it in a way that hopefully makes sense. But just bear in mind that we've got a whole bunch of custom APIs we've built for ourselves and for our clients, and I've also got a team of 20 in the Philippines that goes through and checks and personalizes and make sure that the emails we're sending have got the right data, we've got the right personalization. So I'll take you through how that process also looks. Now, in terms of list building, we generally only do it for A's and B's. Now, what do I mean by that? So, for example, these are the clients that we really want to be reaching out to, and it's worthwhile to do so on a one-to-one basis. I will also say that we never buy lists from any sources, and personally, I think I've spent probably about $20,000 testing lists that we've gone and bought, and it's always been rubbish. So, if you're going to do that, save yourself the money, go to I don't know, Star City, I think that's what it is. Put it all on red, you probably get better outcomes than buying lists. So just don't do it. But the way I think about list building is I answer a question of where do my people hang out? Like what forums, what areas, what groups on LinkedIn, what associations, like where are my people hanging out that I can really easily go to and find the right answer for them there. Right, so here's a list that we look at. We look at LinkedIn Sales Navigator, we do Google searches, association websites, regulatory websites, and competitor logos just for inspiration as well. So once you have a good database, that's when you go through and start looking at, hey, what personalization or data points can we find about our audience? So whether it's name, company size, we even go super deep when we're researching contacts. So we'll look at what articles have they written? What blog posts have they done? What podcasts have they actually done? And I've even got team members for some clients listening to podcast episodes and pulling out bits and pieces from those podcast episodes. So the more personalization you can do, the better your emails will land. Now, from that, this is kind of a simple way of looking at it, but there's services out there that you can plug this data into that make it really easy to actually get contacts. So for example, one system we use is called hunter.io. We plug name, company name, and some kind of domain into it, and what it does is it just guesses, hey, is this the right email? We then take those emails and plug it into another program called Never Bounce, and it verifies, is this email domain correct? Is this right? Is it going to bounce back, or is this a valid email? So it's kind of a more manual way of doing it like that, and we have built APIs and automations to do it, but if you're just starting out, if you don't need a massive list, this is a pretty simple way of just getting someone's contact details and getting a pretty 80% chance of finding the right contacts if Never Bounce tells you it's a green. So I've just given you kind of a 2-step process to go and build your own list. Before you all go and just build these massive lists of contacts that you send emails out to, I will drop a little bit of a warning here, and it's to be very careful though with some of the automations that you use. So I know that there's automated tools where you can go and scrape your LinkedIn contact and do all of that kind of stuff. Just be a little bit careful with all of that. For the sake, just because your LinkedIn profile has got much more potential than just for data mining. So, and they obviously don't like people mining their database. So just a word of warning there, do it in a very nuanced and very careful way. But if you use it really well, it can be an absolute game changer in terms of your B2B lead gen. Now, we are testing some AI tools at the moment that don't rely on the scraping databases and things like that. And so what I'll do is, as we go through and test it and make sure on our profile that it's actually safe, I'll start sharing some of that as well. So I'll start putting some information together, and once we verify that my account hasn't been shut down, I'll share how we use those tools with you ongoing into the future. Now, that being said, that was list building, right? Hopefully it wasn't too techy. Hopefully, the tools that kind of look easy enough to use. But now we've got the list. The next question is, well, cool, we've got people to contact. What do we say to them? Like, it's not just about the list building. What do we do to get the conversation going and to build a relationship with our audience? And so I'm going to take you through a framework in terms of writing emails. And I'll just preface this by saying, this is the stuff I super geek out about. My background is in copywriting, and so my happy place is literally sitting at home in my man cave, writing copy for a week, not talking to anyone. That's my happy place. So I'm going to try and distill this down into something that makes a lot of sense, go over in a way that's fast enough, but hopefully understandable enough for all of you on this call here. And if you want to ask me questions about copy afterwards, please feel free to do so. But I'm just going to take you through a few key things that you can pay attention to get really good cold emails. Now, reason why I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about copy is because cold email copy is so different to long form copy, and I think it makes sense to kind of give you some context on the strategy of this. So, when it comes to cold email copy, there's kind of 3 or 5 things that I focus on, right? 3 are essential and 2 are what I call supercharges. So the essentials for me are value, social proof, and humor or personality, right? And we use it interchangeably. And I'll also take you through 2 supercharges after we go for the 3 essentials. Now, this is my Venn diagram, right? In terms of what I think about. So if you can have an email that hits all 3 points, chances are it's going to be a pretty good email. Chances are you're probably going to get leads and some people coming through from the email itself. Now, let me explain each part and kind of go through what it actually means. So value is, what do we do for our readers, right? Not for us. So this is the part where I say, hey, don't talk about your business. No one really cares. And it's kind of a good thing, right? What is the value you can help your audience with? We then talk about social proof, or what have you done for someone like them, right? How do we build trust as quickly as possible, knowing that we're coming out of the cold? Now, the third bit is humor, or to be human. Now, I don't mean that if you're not humorous, if you don't joke around, me personally, I love a good dad joke. I use so much dad jokes in my writing, but if that's not you, I don't mean that you've got to go and start, hey, ChatGPT, give me a joke about this. If joking isn't part of how you normally talk, don't do it. What I mean is that you've got to think about the person reading the email, right? Because it's an actual person sitting on the other side of the screen. So I think of it as H2H marketing or human to human marketing, not B2B. So put your personality in there, put your own tone of voice in there, make it so that they can see that the emails are coming from another person and not just someone from a big corporation, right? For example. Now that those, we've covered 3 essential elements, I'm going to talk about 2 supercharges. And this graphic here, my graphics designer, she messaged me on Slack, she said, look, honestly, I vomited a little bit in my own mouth when I saw this. Can you please never do graphics design again? But hopefully, with all of this, I'm going to get the point across, right? Excuse the graphics design. I cannot design to save my life. I'm a copywriter, not a graphic designer. So the 2 supercharges I want to talk about though, one is a trigger, and the second is a dialed in offer. So what I mean by trigger is, what is a reason for reaching out? Like, are there changes coming up in the industry? Have you seen something in the competitive landscape where they have to be aware of it? Is there something you've seen from the content where you're like, hey, I need to speak to you about this? That's a super powerful way of actually getting the call, because it shows that you've done the research. You've thought about them. You've got a reason for reaching out. So trigger is really important to have if you can bring that into your emails. And the second one is a dialed in offer. And by offer, I don't mean, hey, I've just seen this, can I sell you some stuff? That's my offer. What I mean by offer with this is, have you done something else for another client in the market? You've built a case study and it's really important, and it solves the problem that everyone in the market is thinking about. Have you got some other form of content, right? Something else that you can offer that's valuable that they would want to see. So that is what I mean by dialed in offer. And so if we have those 5 elements, right, here are some other general principles. Like 1, don't make it boring. As we said, H to H, use your personality, use humor if you can. Make it as short as it needs to be, but still get the message across. So I've seen people talk about cold emails and they say, you have to have 3 lines in email only or else it's not gonna work. No, like they haven't sent enough cold emails, right? We've got 1.2 million data points that we look at, and what we see is if you just take the right time to write a succinct message, you can actually send longer cold emails and people still reply really well to those. Now, the third thing is make it less about them make it less about you and more about them. So sometimes what I do is when I edit my cold emails, I'll go back and I'll do a find and replace or find all, and I'll take the letter I, right? If I say I or our, it'll highlight to me where I've used that, and I'll look at it and go, how can I flip it to say you or your company or your team? So that's one thing that you can look at doing as well. I also look at having a new subject line or angle for each email follow-up, and obviously with your cold emails, always send a sequence. Don't just send one, because people are busy. Sometimes they only get one of them. Always send a sequence of 4 to 5, and that should hopefully help you get some pretty great responses and also leads from email as well. Now, I don't know if you all want to do this. On the next slide, I've got an actual email that I've sent that's generated probably multiple 6 figures in revenue for our own business. Let me know in the comments, like, should I spend some time going through the email, breaking it down, or should I just zoom past it and just talk about, the tactics? What works for everyone here? Let me know. Do you want to see the templates? Do you want to see the emails? Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Now, this is an actual email that I sent out to, it was buyers agents in Sydney a couple of years ago when we were doing a lot more work in the real estate industry. And so the email itself reads like this, right? Hey, first name, I've got some bad news for you. The bad news is that, yes, this is one of those emails from some random on the internet. Dope. So a little bit of humor, a little bit of differentiation coming through. I then go into saying, long story short, we've been working with a few other buyers agents on the marketing and lead generation, and what we've done is we've helped one of our clients land 7 clients, right? So I use social proof and value kind of interchangeably, but the reason why this email works so well, and I've got it blanked out because I don't share this with everyone else, so this is kind of behind the scenes for all of you, is I talk about things that they care about. So I didn't talk about leads, I didn't talk about sales calls, I talked about clients specifically. Because for the buyers agents, it was like, well, leads are work, right? Leads are phone calls and work, but clients are kind of what we're after. So that's what got their attention. I wanted to see if you're currently looking for new leads and more importantly, new clients. That's kind of the baiting question, right? I get them engaged. And then if so, I'd love to share some ideas, right? The value exchanging. And I've got a pretty funny call to action as well. And I also said, I think on this email, I just want a 7-minute phone call, which is a little bit different, using a lot of psychology and humor in this email. But as you can see, I've got the core 3 elements, the essential 3 in here. So this email performed, I think we did about 87% open rate across the sequence. And I think the reply rate was pretty high as well, somewhere around 37%, but it's been a couple of years, so I don't remember the exact number. So the email structure is opener, attention grabber, right? Get their attention, the humor or the curiosity to get them to read the next line. I've got the value statement, the social proof, the call to action, the ethical bribe, and also the humor or curiosity close.
All right, so that wraps it up. I hope you got a whole bunch of value and you learned a little bit about AI, lead generation, all of that good stuff through here. Now, if you're wanting to go deeper into emails and you want to learn how to write really, really great cold emails that get leads banging down your door, I'm going to link a few videos here around the cold email side of things. So one of the videos is how you can destroy your reputation if you write cold emails the wrong way, and how we're going to inverse that to help you write amazing cold emails. And I'll also stick another video on here specifically about lead generation as well. So go and check out those two videos if you want more leads for your B2B business. In the meantime, have a good one and I'll catch you soon.